In the vast, silent expanse of the North Atlantic, where the sky meets an endless ocean, our world is under constant watch. Military radar stations, the unsleeping eyes of our defense networks, scan the heavens day and night. They're designed to see everything: commercial airliners, military hits, even flocks of birds. But in 1987, on a night that started like any other, something appeared on their screens that defied all logic, all science, and every known law of physics. It was a signal that should never have existed. That night, deep within a secure monitoring station, a lone operator stared at his screen in disbelief. In a sector of the sky that was supposed to be completely empty, a single, glowing blip had appeared. It wasn't a commercial flight. It was off all known flight paths. It wasn't a military aircraft. No exercises were scheduled. This was something else. The object was circular, radiating a soft, pulsating light, and it was moving at a speed that was simply impossible. We're talking multiple times the speed of sound, yet it created no sonic boom, no turbulence in the air, no atmospheric distortion. It was a ghost, slicing through the sky without leaving a single footprint. The operators in the room were seasoned professionals, trained to identify every conceivable threat. But this was different. They ran diagnostic after diagnostic, checking their equipment for any sign of a glitch. Everything was functioning perfectly. The signal was real. As they watched, their professional composure began to crack, replaced by a mixture of awe and growing unease. The object wasn't just fast, it was unnaturally agile. According to the radar logs, which were later classified at the highest levels, the object would be racing across the sky one moment, and then, in an instant, it would come to a complete, dead stop. It would hang there, perfectly still in midair, as if suspended by an invisible thread. Then, just as suddenly, it would jump. Not fly, not accelerate, but jump to another position miles away in the blink of an eye. Think about that for a second. Every object we know, from a thrown ball to a fighter jet, has to accelerate to gain speed and decelerate to stop. It's a fundamental principle of physics. But this object bypassed it entirely. It moved from point A to point B without traversing the space in between in any conventional sense. To this day, no known aircraft, not even the most advanced, top-secret experimental prototypes we know of, can replicate this behavior. It's a maneuver that belongs more to science fiction than to the skies above our planet. Panic began to set in at the station. The operators scrambled to get a weapons lock, to get any kind of clear reading on this intruder. But every time they tried to zero in on the signal, something strange would happen. The data would become corrupted. Numbers on the screen would flicker and turn to gibberish. The smooth, clean line of the radar sweep would distort into a chaotic mess. It was as if the object itself was aware of their attempts to track it, and was actively interfering with their systems. And then came the message, a message that sent a chill down the spine of everyone who saw it. Across the main radar display, where there should have been technical data, a line of text appeared, typed out in a simple, blocky font. Signal interference, unknown origin. It wasn't an error code they recognized. It wasn't part of the system's normal operation. It was an external message, broadcast from an unknown source, displayed on a secure military network. The implication was terrifying. Not only was there an unidentified object in their airspace, but it was also capable of hacking into one of their most protected systems. Just as quickly as it had appeared, the encounter was over. Minutes after the strange message flickered across their screens, the object made its final, breathtaking move. It shot straight up, vertically, accelerating at a velocity that defied comprehension. It ascended through the layers of the atmosphere in mere seconds, and then it was gone. It vanished from the radar, vanished from sight, leaving behind nothing but stunned silence and a dozen unanswered questions. It didn't re-enter orbit. It just disappeared into the blackness of deep space. The official report filed in the days that followed was concise and dismissive. The incident was logged as a complex equipment malfunction, a case of anomalous propagation, or weather-related radar clutter. The glowing object, the impossible speeds, the instantaneous stops, the cryptic message on the screen, all of it was swept under the rug. It was a non-event, a ghost in the machine. Publicly, The 1987 radar anomaly never happened. For decades, the official story held, and the true events of that night remained buried in classified files. But secrets have a way of surfacing. Years later, thanks to declassification requests and leaks from former personnel, a more complete picture began to emerge. Audio recordings from the control room that night were released, and they tell a very different story from the official report. On the tapes, you can hear the operators' voices, their tones shifting from confusion to alarm, and finally to a sense of profound wonder and fear. One voice, clear amidst the static and technical jargon, cuts through the noise. He says, "That wasn't a plane. It wasn't a missile. Whatever it is, it's watching us." That single sentence recontextualizes the entire event. This wasn't just a random object passing by. The way it moved, the way it seemed to play with their systems, the way it observed them before departing, it felt deliberate. It felt like a demonstration. A message was being sent, not just on their screens, but through the object's very presence. It was a display of technology so far beyond our own that it might as well have been magic. So, what did that radar station track in 1987? What was that glowing, circular object that toyed with one of the most advanced military surveillance systems on Earth? The equipment malfunction theory has been thoroughly debunked by independent analysts who have studied the declassified data. The radar systems were top of the line and had multiple backups and crossed. A malfunction of this specific nature, creating such a consistent and intelligently behaving target, is statistically next to impossible. Could it have been a secret, next-generation military prototype? This is a popular theory. Governments are always developing advanced technology in the shadows. Perhaps a black project, a revolutionary drone or aircraft, was being tested and accidentally flew into monitored airspace. This would explain the secrecy and the official cover-up. However, it doesn't explain the physics. Even today, over 3 decades later, we do not possess propulsion or energy systems capable of instantaneous acceleration and deceleration. If a human government had this technology in 1987, our world would look very, very different today. Our entire understanding of energy and motion would have been revolutionized. This leaves us with a more unsettling, and perhaps more likely, possibility that the object was not of human origin. Researchers and ufologists who have studied the case classify the 1987 radar anomaly as one of the clearest, most well-documented unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAP, events ever recorded. The combination of multiple, highly trained military witnesses, verified radar data, and audio recordings makes it an incredibly compelling piece of evidence. Evidence that we may not be alone. Was this a visitor, quietly observing our world from the safety of the upper atmosphere? A silent sentinel watching the development of a young, volatile species. Its behavior wasn't aggressive. It didn't attack. It didn't threaten. It simply observed, demonstrated its capabilities, and then left. A quiet reminder, perhaps, of our place in the cosmos. The mystery remains, a dark shadow in the archives of military history, a single event that challenges our perception of the world and the sky above. What was that object that pierced the darkness over the North Atlantic? A secret human invention that has remained hidden for over 30 years, or a visitor from somewhere else? A traveler from a place we can only dream of? The official records are closed, but the questions remain open. This is Shadow Archives. We bring light to the mysteries that were never meant to be found. Thank you for joining us. If you want to explore more hidden truths, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Until next time, keep looking up.